our defense and offense played really well, special teams as well. But I just want to thank the people of Arkansas, and I hope tomorrow they wake up and are excited about Arkansas football again. With that, I'll answer any questions you have.
Coach, I know you feel good for your players and staff and everybody and Razorback fans, but how do you feel right now?
I feel really blessed because I've got such a good staff, and our players are, they do anything we ask them to do. And we love it here in Arkansas. So, I just feel really, blessed to be the head coach at Arkansas. And, we're going to lose a game eventually, and all those things. And I'm going to, people are not going to like me so much, but most of them like me right now. And I like that.
The play of your defense really stood tall all day.
They were swarming, and they did a really good job. Our linebackers are really good players. Barry had the idea to go back to our three-man front for the most part. He was multiple tonight, but for the most part in a three-man front going back from last year. Felt like we could stop the run that way. We had so much respect for Robinson and still do, obviously. But that's the way that Coach thought he could win the game on defense, and our team bought into that. And certainly the first half, the entire game they played outstanding, but the first half they just set the tone completely for the game.
About your offensive line, and looks like you kind of got a stable of running backs.
Isn't that something? Coach Kennedy comes in June the 4th or whatever it was. And, we rushed for 333 yards, average, 7+ yards a carry. He's got some really hardworking kids. They took a lot of heat, in the past, and will, I'm sure, some in the future. It's part of the nature, but the way they played tonight to rush for 333 on a good Texas squad was outstanding. And Bo Lemmer's a part of that as well. He's playing a lot of ball too, but we had the 5 starters back from last year and Bo, and they need credit. I don't think they gave up a sack tonight either. And they came to play. I'm really proud of them.
Coach, Hayden Henry had 15 tackles, 2.5 TFLs, kind of played like a madman.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
Hayden Henry had 15 tackles, 2.5 TFLs. You just tell how much he wanted this game by how hard he played. And
he's kind of Bobby Boucher, the guy goes around water boy, and he kind of goes around, and that's kind of how he plays. And very aggressive. But I'll tell you what, he had a really good camp. And he's playing like we thought. He had the shoulders healed up and got some strength in there. So, he had a great game.
You alluded to the running game. I'm sure Texas's game plan was, let's make Arkansas pass the ball, but you guys were able to run it, especially that last drive, touchdown drive where the freshman got all 75 yards. What'd you think of that? Because they knew you were going to run it and they couldn't stop you.
Well, I liked it. I thought a lot of it. I was happy. I know what you're asking. And that's something. 5 went in there and did really good. And then 0 came in there and did really good, Bob. But I tell you what they're doing. Jimmy's really, next hole. They're reading their first read. And where we were slower before, they're reading the first read, and then 2, if it's closed, they go to 3, and they're hitting it fast. And they're really helping our linemen, Bob, with the way that they're hitting holes. People say, well, that's easy to do. Well, it's not really when they're a zone type scheme, and you've got to read, and make the right read, just like a quarterback has to on a defensive end. Coach, I'm really proud of Kendall Browse tonight, too, by the way. He did a heck of a job.
Coach, on that one design, I think it was a 3rd and 5, and he snuck Dominique Johnson as a fullback. What did you think about that play call?
It worked great. It worked. It was a touchdown. But what happened, you had Burks as a decoy, you had the running back as a decoy, and then flipped it in there, handed in there to Dominique. We thought it would work, especially if they jumped in there bare front. We thought it would work because they were in man. And by golly, it did. And that was a big, big touchdown for us. Really good play call.
Coach, I asked you in the preseason about gaining the players' trust, and you had the trust of the players and you're taking the next step. Now with this game, what's the next step after this? How do you bottle this up and continue it and keep this momentum going?
Greatest thing about our team, and it happened last year, is when we played a pretty good first half against Georgia. And I've said it before, and then went to Mississippi State and won, went to Auburn and had the call at the end, come back home, beat Ole Miss. Our team, our coaches have done a really good job of saying, okay, well, you can take the pats on the back, but when we get in here on Monday, we've got to go play Georgia Southern. They've done a really good job with that. The next step, I don't know, Trey. I think we took a step already. That was the number 15 team in the country, and they beat the 23rd team in the country soundly last week. So I think we have taken a step, and now we have to keep climbing. But I got to ask a question about what do we need to do to be to be a good SEC team? Well, I mean, we played some pretty good teams and beat some pretty good teams, so we're headed that direction. We got a long way to go, but tonight sure was nice.
Coach, I'm wondering if can you expand on Dominic Johnson a little bit? He had the touchdown run, a couple other big runs, and I think he picked up a blitz on the edge on KJ's deep ball.
He did. It was a really good job. He's a really good blocker. He's a tough kid. I'll be honest with you. Like I said before, we moved to the tight end, and then somebody got hurt. A running back got hurt that day. Not for long, and we moved him back, and he's a better running back. I think he took for granted where he was, but I trust him like crazy. And so he's really in that 3-man rotation. Of course, I think AJ, we really wanted to see AJ tonight to see if he could get in to the rotation. And he had a really nice zone run there towards the end of the game. But I think Dominique, he was so happy, he's all in. And I was happy for him.
Coach, 2 weeks ago, John Ridgway was in the hospital having an appendectomy, and then today he has 6 tackles and a sack. What did you think of his performance?
I thought it was pretty good. You got to love Ridge. If you guys get to know him, he's hilarious, and just such a great person and a good team player. But he's strong, he won the state in wrestling, and he's strong, big. It was a big deal for him because I thought he pushed the pocket well. At least for the first 3 quarters.
Coach, after last weekend, there was 13 penalties, some drops and all that stuff, and you guys really cleaned it up in a short amount of time, only 4 penalties. How big a point of emphasis was that after the game? And you got to be pleased with that number.
Well, it's a big deal, and you just keep trying to get better and better and better. But we did emphasize that, and our kids know. The one thing about our guys, they like to be coached. I mean, they like to be told the truth. And so that's what we did. And, it's not the end of the world. We got to fix it, and drop passes. It's not the end of the world. We have to fix it. And if you're willing to work on things like that and you're willing to, take some criticism for it, then you're going to get better. And that's what they did. And I was proud of that part too.
Coach, I know Hunterson back there. What did you think of Jake's punt block tonight?
That was awesome, wasn't it? And then I tried to find him, and then all I found was Soley. Soley caught it, I never did find Jake. But that was really a good effort. The guy muffed it, and then he blocked it, and I was so happy to see that and for him, and for the team, but I was happy to see that. We didn't capitalize on that one, by the way. We kicked the field goal.
Sam, you obviously had the fans here. You had a bunch of recruits here, primetime game, Texas rivalry, all that. I mean, just how big a win was this in this setting to make the fans want to come back and obviously impress the recruits?
I hope it was a big one for us. I hope the state wants to come see the Hogs play. I think they proved that they want to, because I think we had over 60,000 the first game for Rice, somewhere around in there. And then tonight, obviously, a sold-out stadium. And, I mean, when you go see entertainment, whether it be a movie or whatever, you want something to inspire you. And hopefully we did, and hopefully they'll come back. I expect them to.
What's been the difference in Cameron Little since last spring till now? Or as far as just his performance?
Well, he wasn't very good last spring, and he's really good now. You know, he can even slide them in off the goalpost now. But, you know, I think it's just confidence. You know, you guys were here in the spring, and he wasn't very good, you know, in the spring. And certainly he started booming them when he after all the summer, you know, when he was doing all the stuff out there on his own in the summer. And the other thing too is, and I was a square-toed kicker, and Russell Bunch was the holder all the time, so we didn't have to change holders. But I think there's a big deal when you're rotating holders to a kicker, and that's what we were doing a little bit in the spring, trying to find the right guy for him. And obviously with Bauer, we did, because he's on target right now and doing a great job.
Coach, KJ had the interception on the first play of the second half, but then came back right after that and had the big completion of Tyson. What did that tell you about your quarterback?
Well, that was a big answer right there, and I was hoping that he would do exactly what he did, and I thought he would. But that's a big deal, because we could have went in the tank that series too, but we didn't. We went right back down and scored touchdowns. Big deal.
Coach, you saw over Razorback Stadium, fans doing the horns down. There's former coaches that have done it. Have you gotten a chance to do that yet tonight?
No, I'm not. I ain't doing that. That ain't my style. Anybody want to do it, you can do it, but that's not my style.
Sam, how nice was that to kneel down? You know, I mean, you're beating Texas so bad, you had to put, mercy on him and kneel down. How good did that feel?
No, I mean, they weren't using their timeouts, and so we kneeled on it. You know, last week I didn't know if he'd use his timeouts or not, so we scored. But there was several different situations where you knew Coach Sark wasn't going to use the timeout, so I figured when we got it down there, another first down, it's time to kneel it out. I didn't do it for any other reason, and game was over. It's time to go, come in here and get to look at all y'all and visit with you guys. I couldn't wait. Thanks. Go Hogs.